Hi there, Serial Trader here. I'm just going to do an update on the major US indices, and we'll start off here with this 2-hour chart in SPX. And once again, I'll go through a couple scenarios. Now, last week I was anticipating perhaps finally a breakout above to new highs to confirm that we're in this fifth wave up, or a nice reversal down to go to this bearish alternate, which is still alive currently. And that's where we already have our fifth wave complete here. And that we're working this initial A down or one. This is a three-wave rally up, a very deep one at this point, well beyond even the 786 retracement. You can see. But nonetheless, until it actually breaks, you could still potentially view this as A, B, C up for either a B or a 2. And then we'd be looking for either a C or a 3 down. So this is still technically intact, as long as we don't take out the 42.38 high. But when you get beyond that 786 retracement, I mean, it's getting less and less likely that this is the case. So I'm still giving a little bit more, like I'd call it 60% in favor of this scenario, and we'll say 40% in favor of this scenario. So still giving a little bit more of a benefit of the doubt to the upside, unless this thing really just turns down and negates that picture. Okay, now as far as my position, so I had some 4,200 strike calls that were set to expire just on Friday there. So during the week, I actually rolled them to the next Friday, so the first Friday in June. So that was fine. And I also averaged into some more short ES contracts, so some short futures contracts. So I'm still just basically looking to cover both sides here, because even though I am somewhat favoring the upside still, I still can't ignore the potential, especially that we just finished the month and we're entering the new month, the potential that we got a very deep but still internal retracement and that we're going to roll over here. Okay. So some things to go through here. What I don't like about this bullish count is, at least on the cash index, this looks more like a 3 up, 3 down, 5 up, which would be more favoring this, that we have this ABC up for A, ABC down for B, and then a 5 up for a C of a flat. But if you go on the I won't show it here, but you can look at it yourself if you want. If you go on the actual futures to get the overnight activity, etc., you can get 5 up out of this initial move. So because of that, I'll still entertain that we're still working to the upside. Okay. I mean, this coming week, I would like to think that we actually finally break and make new highs, or turn down and commit to the downside here. I would like to think that we won't go through another week. Now, it's a shortened week. Regular trading doesn't start till Tuesday due to the long weekend. But I would like to think that we don't just stay in this range for another trading week. It's possible, I suppose. And I'll certainly be making some adjustments if that ends up being the case. One thing I will do is I'll go back here and look at June of 2020, which I believe is over here. This is just the daily chart. So June of 2020. So let's see here. Here we were. We ended the last trading day in May on May 29th, 2020. And then we did have a pretty good move up here to finish into June 8th. So about a week into June. And then that was the peak. And then we had a nice corrective period for the rest of June, basically ending on the last trading day, or second last trading day of June there, June 29th, 2020. So even if there's just a little bit of a seasonal tendency here, we should get some sort of pullback in June, even if it's relatively minor. So just a little seasonality to keep in mind there, based on last year, right? But yeah, just looking at this, it's still just too indecisive to make a strong commitment. So I am still covering both sides there from a trading perspective. Again, as long as we actually start making some decent progress and make new highs, or turn down and make some lower lows here below the we'll call it the May lows there, and then it should still be a good outcome. But for now, let's wait and see. Let the market reveal itself here. Okay, so that's probably all I need to go through there on the SPX chart. Basically, the wave count or the potential two wave counts I'm following, neither have confirmed or invalidated since the last video, so we'll just kind of leave it at that. Okay, now on the Thinkorswim candlestick chart, not much to speak of here. Just some fairly indecisive looking candles, not any strong signals. I mean, we are still above all these significant moving averages, so there's really nothing here as far as a guide. A little overbought here in the oscillator. Not much to go on there as far as signals. Weekly candles here on SPX. Again, not much. The 2 prior weeks, we had these lower shadows rejecting lower prices. We did have a modestly positive week. Still above all these major moving averages and the T-line, etc. So nothing there ringing any alarm bells yet. Dow Jones Industrial Average basically looks very similar to the S&P, and I think on the weekly as well, it's essentially the same. Yeah, so nothing to remark on there. And what else? NASDAQ Composite. So the NASDAQ Composite, it's not nearly as close to making new highs as the other 2 indices, but nonetheless, it's still in a similar position. Uptrend from our lows back here, from our May lows, is currently still intact. We are overbought on the daily oscillator, but again, no strong messaging here. Weekly candle for the composite. And you know what, the NASDAQ, I mean, there's a few different ways I've been looking at this, but this might be a triangle forming here on the NASDAQ, you know, like an A, B, C, D, E. So if we get one more little move down here without taking out this low, which is at right around 13,000, this could potentially be a 4th wave triangle in the NASDAQ, and then we got a nice move up coming in a 5th. So that's just a little food for thought there. But yeah, as far as the weekly candle, modestly positive week. Not much else to comment on there. So I'm certainly not beating the drums here for either direction. It's just not that clear, and that's why I have both sides covered there as far as positioning goes. Now there are some things to comment here on the volatility index. So VIX. Now VIX has obviously been tanking, so that's you know, all else being equal, bullish for you know, the overall market. But we are getting back down to a level where the market ran into trouble. Like when VIX gets low enough, is potentially signaling that we could be approaching a top of some kind in the market. So we're getting right around that level here where we ran into some trouble as far as some downside on the market. So keep that in mind. A little bit of a potential bullish hammer here on VIX too on Friday. So that might be a little early warning sign. We'll have to see. And VIX VVIX tool, I think there's something developing, not confirmed yet. So on the VIX VVIX tool, we're still technically on a buy signal. We're still below the red moving average on VVIX, still above the blue moving average on SPX since our most recent signal. But there is a potential sell signal in development, and that's so we'll look for the ingredients. So VIX was making lower lows from this reference point, but VVIX was not making lower lows from that reference point. So we have a little bit of a VIX VVIX divergence. And you can see SPX getting mighty close here to its blue moving average, which is at right around 4,200, 4,201 and change. And we closed Friday at 4,204. So we're right there. So if we basically get an immediate reversal down here on SPX, so we'd be looking for VVIX to get back above the red moving average, SPX to get back below this blue moving average. And if that happens, basically immediately, you know, as of Tuesday's trade, first day of the week there, if we get that, then we do have a legitimate sell signal here, and then we might have to entertain that more bearish short-term wave count. But this is still not confirmed. This is just a potential signal in formation for now. So it should be, well, I hope it's an interesting week next week and not just more, you know, low volatile kind of choppy mess. But we'll have to see. Maybe people are going to be willing to make some bigger bets coming off the holiday weekend, and that'll finally get some movement going here in the market. All right, well, that's probably good for now. Serial Trader signing off.